I'm trying to think of the last time I'm aware of one in Franklin County, because it takes a lawsuit. The city has to sue the property owners, take them to court, and prove to a judge why this property is so important to the city. I've been city attorney here since 1995. We've never done one involuntary. Washington tried it 10, 12 years ago, and I think it got shut down pretty hard, because it's usually opposition to most annexations that you see, that I see anywhere in Franklin County, whether it's Union, Washington, Sullivan, the city. It's voluntary. The landowner has to come forward and say, I want to do this. If the city comes to you and says, we'd like for you to do it, and you say, no, I don't want to, then that's involuntary. And it would take a lawsuit. So if the property even adjoins you on two sides, if this were approved, that doesn't bring your property into the city limits, because the ordinance, if it's presented, we'll only have, we have to put a legal description in the ordinance of the property. Like when we did Vogelsang's out here about 2 months ago, we had to have a legal description of that property, because the county has to know which property is in it. The legal description is what is in that notice that came from MoDOT. It is of the highway and the service road right of way only. There is not one private property owner's legal description in there anywhere, to my knowledge.
I would also like to say I did not receive a letter, but I would like one now so that I can fill it out and turn it in, because everybody else will get to, so I would like to as well. At my time. Thank you.
Our public hearing is running over time. I get everybody's concerns about your freedoms. Okay, this will be the last one, ma'am. Thank you. State your name and address, please.
My name is Susan Kurtman. My husband is Dr. George Kurtman, veterinarian, that many of you know. My address is 7966 South Highway 47, Union, Missouri. George and I bought the property over 50 years ago. He would like to tell you he cannot physically be here. He's dealing with Parkinson's, but he's very concerned about this and strongly opposed. He's worked to improve the soil, eliminate erosion. I can't tell you the number of bags of soil samples that he took to the extension office to get the proper amount of fertilizer to improve the soil, work the soil, remove noxious weeds. There's a lot that's gone into the 50-plus years. And then to see this plan where it's, raining our farm is very concerning. We have always lived in the Union School District with a Union address, and this is one of the reasons we bought the property. I work for the Union schools, and it was important to me that I live in the school district that I work. And I had, I was asked about that, and very proud to say that. And I do not wish to be part of this annexation, and I understand that the highway that doesn't automatically annex me, but that's just the first step. When we look at the long-range plan, our farm would be great if we can find a plan and settling. We also consulted some like real estate professionals, and how this would affect property, taxes, future values. Also concerned, if the city has control of Highway 47 right away, how would this affect access to Highway 47? Could they make, like farming equipment coming in and out of our farm? There's just concerns. Is there at any point they could cut off access? These are things that we don't know. And we are very concerned because we have, our property also touches Shuart Road. And that we're very strongly opposed to this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor, can I make a question before you end it, please? Can I have a question before you end it?
State your name and address, please.
Yeah, I'm David Godat, 2884 North Commercial. I went all the way down commercial, both directions, to every house that was home, and I only found 2 people on that whole road who wanted anything to do with this. So I would like to know whose idea was it to start with?
His idea was to start with the annexation.
Yeah,
I initiated.
okay, just so we know that.
I'll stand right behind our administrator.
The reason I asked that, because I also contacted David Henson, our commissioner over that area, and his number is 636-583-6358, and he said he's received no adverse opinions about it. And I've been finding adverse opinions everywhere I'm going. Jonathan Barnes is over the MoDOT, and MoDOT has an opinion in this. Now, you haven't got approval yet, have you?
No.
So 314-624-5160, these people need to hear from you. That is MoDOT, Jonathan Barnes, 314-624-5160.
Thank you.
The Commissioner, 636-583-6358. Because I think we should have a right to an opinion whether we decide to be part of the future of the city. Now, you guys are saying these are our future plans. Well, that's probably not most of these people's future. That's all I got to say. Thank you. Thank you.
Can we have another hearing so other people can ask questions?
Yes.
Do you have a question?
I do. I'm Christina Reynolds with 7819 Highway 47 at 3RRV. We do not want to be a part of the annex. And I'm all for the growth. I think St. Clair needs to be growth. I agree with Dave 100%. But let's start with what we've already got, all the property we've already got open. And then come to us and say, hey, we need to expand more. But let's work with what we got first. As a business owner, you have to have projections and things like that. You know what you're going into the next couple of years. You guys got to have some sort of idea of what to tell us so that you can get us on your side. So that's just my opinion, and we do not want to be part of the annex.
Thank you.
Next question.
Kelly Gibbert, and we own the property at 7921 Highway 47. I realize this is only for the interstate, only the highway. And can you tell us what happens when they annex that and the neighbor here and the neighbor here on either side of your property decides to annex in to the city? Where do you run your water line? It's going to go through my front yard, right? And how much of my front yard is it going to affect?
It's down the roadway, it doesn't go in your front yard. They make you pay to hook up from your house to the.
Oh, so every landowner has to pay for the section in front of their house?
To hook up from your house to the water, city and sewer, you will be responsible for it.
I understand that, but if I don't want to be, are they going to go around my property and somebody
It
else?
will be down at the roadway, it won't be in your yard.
Right away. Okay, so it will not be in, it'll be in some easement, correct?
I don't know the fact matter, but cities can never go on your property without an easement. I mean, so there's your water
There's an
line.
easement or something.
Do it.
I would imagine there is an easement there somewhere.
I would
With
doubt
MoDOT?
well, maybe the MoDOT, you know, they can put it in the MoDOT right away, but not on your private property without an easement from you to the city.
To the city of St. Clair.
We've
Even
done
if
that.
one exists with MoDOT, MoDOT says, yes,
But that's,
you
it
can take over.
would be in MoDOT's right of way, it wouldn't be on your property, it would be in MoDOT's property. This annexation, is only on MoDOT's property,
I get
only,
that.
not yours, or any person's.
So what is the easement on either side of the highway or interstate we're talking about?
There is, to my knowledge, there's no easement for the city of St. Clair for
I didn't
water
ask for
or.
the city of St. Clair. I asked for MoDOT. You specifically said that it was MoDOT that owns that right now, and it would be in their easement, correct?
I don't know.
It's power line to power line. Like if you got a power, where the power lines are on,
Okay, thank
from the
you.
road.
That's what I'm wondering how they're gonna get from.
But that, if you have a power line, that is an easement for Ameren. That is not an easement for the city of St. Clair, or the city of Union, or the city of Washington.
But is it analogous to MoDOT? Because I'm assuming that once you guys annex the highway, you will also get their easement, correct?
The property line would be, in an ordinance, would be the MoDOT property. Their right of way. I don't think MoDOT, I don't know what MoDOT has outside of their right of way. I mean, I don't know what would be your yard. I would not certainly want, I don't think there is either. So to answer your question, if your neighbor on one side or the other, you cannot run a power or a water line through your front yard without an easement for you. That would be called trespassing. And you would sue us, and you would win. And you would get your damages if we ran a water line through your property without your permission.
Okay. So, historically speaking, if you're running it down this road and these two want in and this guy doesn't, how do you get the water from one side to the other?
You would have to have an easement to cross your property. You would have to. If we were in, if the city were in MoDOT, then
So
it's
you would have
MoDOT's
to
property.
ask our permission.
Absolutely. Not only ask, have to have your permission.
Okay, and my other question is, you showed us maps of this running down commercial and down the airport property and up 47. Are these three different votable, or however we're taking our stance here, are these three different issues, or is it under one annex only?
It's,
Separate areas.
yeah, each parcel that has a legal description will be a petition from MoDOT.
Okay, so each highway or
So there's, you'll see there on that sheet that there's 4 legal descriptions. Yeah, and again, you know, it's
So
not like,
where do you get legal descriptions? Do you have them available today?
Here's one on this one.
Great.
so again, there's, I think that people may have gotten, the letter that we sent, unfortunately, was the format that MoDOT asked us to provide. And it's the same as if, for instance, when the Vogel Saints came to ask for voluntary annexation, we simply notified the properties that were adjacent to him that he was asking for voluntary annexation. It doesn't mean that we're gonna, just because Vogel Saint did it, that we're gonna suddenly come out and grab the properties next to him. That's not how it works. It's just that we have to provide some reasonable method of trying to notify people that this is happening with a property that you may have adjacent to you. And so this is really what this is. This is, you're being notified because it's a part of the process. But nobody is going after your property. We're not gonna try to seize it. We're not gonna try to take it. We're not gonna damage it. We're not trying to do anything. It's just part of the process to notify everybody else that this is the process that we want to take, and so MoDOT says, here's a whole list of steps you have to do before you can ask for that petition. We're going through that. That's what it is.
My name is Anna Kemper. I'm at 802 East Hackett in Missouri. Would you happen to have a copy of the letter notifying us that Vogel said apply for annexation into the city, because we share a property line and we never got a letter from them?
I don't think we sent a letter on voluntary annexation. That's only.
That was before that, before I was.
You would, I don't think that would letter on voluntary annexation. You would get a letter, I think what you said, Mr. Clifford.
Yeah, my bad. The letter, the notice you would get would be if there were rezoning of somebody's property, that everybody within 180 feet, 5 feet of the boundary line would get a notice that somebody's rezoning their property from residential to commercial or industrial to commercial. then the neighbor owners are notified, but on voluntary annexation, there's no notice requirement to the neighbors.
Thank you.
So you wouldn't have gotten one.
Well, up here, my family's also strongly against this annexation. We too have the same concerns about people next to us coming into the city and those properties being developed. We enjoy living rurally, and to continue doing that. So here's our letter.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm getting ready to leave. I just want to say one more thing, if you don't mind. Michael Older, 420 West Springfield. I heard you say, Ms. Saling, that you wanted to see growth in the city. And I think me and my wife and I just moved here in 2020 from the city. And man, I think the worst thing that could possibly happen to St. Clair is if it could grow. I've got 5 kids here, and what we have right here, right now, is really special to us. It's really precious. The school system, the elementary, the high school, some of the businesses and some of the land that we see here, like over by Hoffman's Towing, some of that opening up over there. If you guys did something over there, that would be cool. And some of what's locally, you know, that would be nice to see that grow up. But God forbid this place ever turns into a more urban society. That's not why we moved out here. So
I'll address that.
Yeah.
I've lived here for, well, over 60 years. I've seen it at various stages. You probably enjoy our public school system, is that correct? Okay. For those of you that do. The police department, the ambulance department, the school, all depend on tax money. There's no way for us to get it unless we increase the tax base. And what we're doing, as far as a 15-year plan, that's going to be one of the biggest things that we have to look at, is economic development. And the only way that we can do that is through methods like this. I understand where you're coming from. You know, whenever I was here, there probably wasn't even 2,000 people here. And I know where you're coming from. But, you know, if you're sitting up here and you read Facebook, and on another night, we could be here and have people out here hollering at us and screaming at us, why is St. Clair not growing? You're on the cornerstone of the community. You've got both across, you've got 44 going, you got 47, you got 30. What in the heck are you people doing? Well, part of what we're trying to do is what we're talking about tonight. So there's 2 sides to every story. I appreciate where you all are coming from. We, as the board, have to appreciate all angles. So, you know, growth has to happen or we're going to die. So I don't think that you want to raise your children in a community that's dying either and can't afford public facilities, just basics, just streets, just water service, just parks.
I know we came
just
out
school.
here to St. Clair because it's really nice.
You know, nothing is permanent.
Yeah, we like the way that
Nothing
it is,
is
and
permanent.
I just wanted to let you guys know that. We
I
like the way that
appreciate
St.
that.
Clair is, and if it begins to be more developed and more developed,
Then
well,
we
I don't
can
know.
find someplace else. Now, and I don't mean that direct, but I mean, I don't mean that. That's not what I meant. I meant that I can do that if you don't like where you're, you know, the situation, you know, then that's part of our freedom too, you know? I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I know that you didn't mean
Everybody,
that.
I'm so sorry.
I know.
That's not what I meant, but
I
that's
appreciate
part of the choice that we have. We can find something that suits our, just like you don't use the public schools, you know?
Well, we do use the public schools. I just, when you use the word like, there's some stuff.
Oh, gotcha,
You know,
gotcha.
there's some
Okay.
tough stuff inside the school that we would like to see
And-
changed.
and I-
But that's another time for another meeting.
But
I
we
gotta
still
go
have
rescue
to-
a cat
but we
out of the
still-
tree.
well,
So our fire department won't do it.
I apologize,
Just clear
Jerry,
that up.
that is not what I meant. I've lived here, like I said, for
Yeah.
60+ years, and I'll go with the changes.
I just want to clear that up. The fire department does not rescue cats. Been in a tree for 4 days.
Thank you, Mr.
God
Alderman.
bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be ready to end this meeting, but I understand you guys are talking about your freedoms and your properties. My family's had a farm here forever, 300 acres. It's outside of city limits. I never want to see it inside of city limits. I get what you're saying. I would hate for somebody to force us into it because we hunt, we fish, we do. I get what you're saying. No one is here to take your property. However, you cannot help what your neighbors do. My neighbor didn't like that I cleared trees. I wanted it to look like a park. He wanted privacy. It's not his property. You can't help what your neighbors do, but you can sure enjoy your farms and your freedoms of how they are. No one is standing up here trying to take anything away from you. But we have heard this for a very long time. It is time to start growing. It doesn't mean this affects you in any way. You can have your union address and keep